Thank you, Chrissy, and the Vertical Events, and thank you for the audience to listening to the presentation I've got to show on this exciting new discovery we've made near Kalgoorlie, which is Burns, which is a copper-gold system in an interesting suite of rocks, and so close to Kalgoorlie, which is renowned for gold. So it's a really interesting discovery. So really what I want to go through is, in the presentation, is talking about the background to Lefroy, and then going on to talking about particularly focusing on the Burns and what this new discovery means to the Kalgoorlie area. So just a quick disclaimer, that's on our website, the presentation's on the website, and also on the ASX if you wish to read it, so that's all there, that's the usual disclaimer. I guess about Lefroy. Peter was talking about birthdays. It's only a couple of days ago it was Lefroy's 6th birthday, so we formed the company back in 2016. And our major project, as you can see there on the screen there, is 3 key projects we've got. The biggest focus, and that's what the name of the company is the Lefroy gold project near Kalgoorlie. But I guess the opportunity for Lefroy, I guess we've been targeting and focusing generative exploration, searching for gold mineralisation, particularly on that Lefroy gold project near Kalgoorlie for the last 6 years. And I guess the key thing is we've come across this new style of gold, copper, plus silver mineralisation, which we think is a unique new discovery in Western Australia and perhaps Australia. So it's, and that's what I want to talk about through this presentation. And I guess the other key thing is it's a highly experienced board, strong board ownership in the company, and I guess our focus is the gold, the copper, and also we've got nickel in the portfolio. The other 2 key assets within the portfolio are called Glen Isle and Lake Johnston. Glen Isle is about 220 kilometres to the northeast of Kalgoorlie, and that's our focus. We've recently pegged all those grounds, about 3,000 square kilometres of tenure we wholly owned. That's a nickel prospective for nickel mineralisation. And also Lake Johnston, that's another target we've got down there near the Emily Ann Mackie Hayes nickel deposits, prospective for nickel mineralisation. I guess going on to the corporate snapshot, what the background of the company, I guess we've only got a pretty tight shareholding. We've only got 146 million shares on issue. Top 20 shareholders, a lot of companies are talking about that. The top 20 for Lefroy is a 71% ownership. And really out of that, the board ownership is totalling about 20% of the company. It's really 3 key entities ownership in Lefroy is Goldfields. Goldfields own 14.8% of the company, and they came into Lefroy back in July 2018. They've also got a joint venture with us, so I can talk about that later. Noontide Investments out of Sydney, and also they are the Lex board, which is made up of the Lex board as holders and also the Lex share plan. I guess cash at the end of the quarter is the 4.2 million. That's at the end of the June quarter, and obviously we've still got to put out a September quarter on the cash flow. I guess we've got a very experienced, well-credentialed board. I joined the company back in 2016. Gordon Galt and Mike Davies. Gordon Galt's a mining engineer. Gordon and Mike also principals of Taurus Funds Management out of Sydney. Gordon's a mining engineer. Mike's in mining finance. I'm a geologist. And also welcome to Tara French, who joined the company in July this year, so recently appointed as a non-executive director. So a strong background in exploration, mining development and mining engineering. I guess leading on, this really goes into the Lefroy project and a fantastic part of the world to be exploring. We formed this portfolio of land, 100% owned, back in 2015. We formed the company and raised $4 million, and we've been doing our exploration there ever since. But really, it's a fantastic area to explore. It's the first time a company's put all this portfolio of land together, and we think, our geologists think, we all think that this is a forgotten part of the Kalgoorlie district for exploration. And I guess we've been doing the exploration there, and this is where we've uncovered the Burns discovery last year. We divided into 2 projects, 2 distinct projects. Western Lefroy is the joint venture with Goldfields. That's a $25 million farm-in. That was formed in June 2018. Goldfields have earned the first stage of the earning, which is $10 million in 3 years. That's done. They're in the second stage of the earning. That's a $15 million earning, and all that expenditure has to be done by June 24. There's a big air core drilling program underway. That's on the land. So what's called a full field air core drilling program. So that's underway. For Lefroy, that's where we spend our money and devote our attention to. And we've got 32 kilometres of strike along a major regional structure called the Mount Munga fault, and that's where, you can see where Burns is, the area in red. That's the area we focus our exploration attention, and where we've made this new discovery of Burns. And this is where we're doing the drilling, big resource drilling program that's underway at the moment. I guess, yeah, this is going into the Burns, and this is really what I talk about, because we feel this is an exciting new discovery in Western Australia, particularly I think for the Kalgoorlie area too, known for gold and nickel. We're now finding the copper in the system, and the system we've found, we think it's a unique system for the age of the rocks and in Western Australia, and we think for the world. It's something completely different that we've found, and it seems to be getting bigger the more and more drilling we do. So really, I just want to go back. I'm excited. I love these images, but and it's just a bit of background to Burns and why the discovery. How did we make this discovery? Where did it come from? This is an aeromagnetic image, a TMI. I guess basically the blue colours, the light colours are non-magnetic rocks. The warm colours, magnetic rocks. The key feature you see there is this big donut anomaly. The round anomaly in there is a big Burns intrusion. Outboard of Burns, you can see where the Burns and Lovejoy trend is. There's some drilling there, those coloured dots. That's where the Burns discovery is. But BHP recognised this anomaly back in 1985, and that was from the old contour, BMR, what's called BMR contour images, not these fancy images. They drilled a couple of holes, they walked away. Newmont came back in 2008, 2010, drilled a few air core holes, but they didn't actually make the discovery at Burns. A company called Octagonal Resources came in about 2011, 2016. They drilled air core holes, and they actually made, sort of credit to them, they made the discovery. They drilled one big deep diamond hole, and they got called OBUD 1. They intersected 55 metres at 0.5 gram gold, 0.2% copper. Didn't get the market excited, and eventually in 2019, Octagonal Resources dropped the ground. And we fortunately were there to pounce on the ground, and we picked up that ground 100% and won the ground in a ballot at the Mines Department. So we got straight onto the ground, did the drilling, recognised the anomaly, followed up for the work that Octagonal did. We drilled there in January 2021. It's only over a year ago. The second hole in the program, that intersected 38 metres at 7.63 grams per tonne gold and 0.56% copper, plus silver, plus molybdenum, in a porphyry host rock, something completely different we've never seen before. And we thought this is something completely different in the Eastern Goldfields. So since then, we've been doing more and more exploration. So where we are now with the system, I guess we've been doing drilling, RC drilling, diamond drilling, air core drilling, particularly air core drilling out in the lake. This is on the edge of a big salt lake called Lake Randall. And we've been doing RC drilling and diamond drilling. So particularly the dashed line there is called the baseline section. So on that section there, we did a series of diamond holes, and more recently we've done this big EIS co-funded diamond hole that's 1.2 kilometres deep. And then we've done more and more drilling through here. We've found this new style of copper-gold Archean age system, and we've also done a hole further to the south. The system, as we do more drilling, the system gets bigger. So what does it look like? I guess it looks a bit complicated. There's a lot of pink there. That's pink is the porphyry. So there's not just one porphyry, and please come out to our table out in the marquee and have a look at the porphyry style mineralisation we're finding there. But these are multiple porphyry into this system. It's about 600 metres wide. The blue line is the 1.2 kilometre hole that we're waiting a lot of assays on. We have got some assays back for that, and we've also found cobalt in the system. So we've found a large, multi-phase, multi-stage polymetallic system that we believe is an Archean porphyry system in Western Australia. There's some of the nice rocks we've been finding. So the top one there is a porphyry with the chalcopyrite in it. The bottom two there is what we get. Is one thing we see a lot of in this system is native copper. We see a lot of native copper, and that'll come onto the next slide. It's an extraordinary intersection of copper we had, and we announced at another prospect further to north called Lovejoy. So this is Lovejoy. So this is 1.5 kilometres to the north of Burns, and we found even more copper. So we get the same rocks, the porphyries and the basalts, which are the green. But up here, we found this hydrothermal breccia, and within that hydrothermal breccia, we've found a lot of native copper, and we've got examples of that out in our table. And we're fast tracking, so we're waiting for results for this. These two diamond holes we've drilled through there, but that's what we got in these holes. It was just extraordinary what we found. The top slide there shows that's copper replacing the basalts. These class of basalt completely replaced by native copper. This is over 200 metres down in fresh rock. Second slide there is these nuggets of copper we regularly get in the basalt. We actually sieve native copper like gold nuggets of gold in the sieves. We actually get native copper. And that bottom slide there, which is extraordinary, that's the drill rod. So when they were changing the drill bit, they pull the drill rods out, the whole drill rod was covered in native copper, which is extraordinary. It was something completely no one has ever seen around the world. So there's a lot of copper in the system, and this is 1.5 kilometres to the north of Burns, where we're currently drilling. So this is another aeromagnetic image, but what I wanted to really show here is the extent of the system. Burns is where we're drilling at the moment with RC drilling. Burns is the original discovery anomaly, but there's all these magnetic anomalies we call along the Burns corridor that extend about 2.5 kilometres, over 2.5 kilometres of strike. So each one of these, you can see all these trends, that's the Burns corridor through here. Each one of those warm colours, which we call Lovejoy, Skinner, Flanders, Smithers, etc. Each of these represent magnetite alteration within a suite of porphyries where we do get, from initial drilling we've been doing, copper and gold anomalies. So it's not just Burns, it's part of a much larger system. That's, I guess, the perspective of where we're drilling and what we've been seeing. And as Peter points out, he gets some rocks, but out here we get no rocks whatsoever. We're drilling, we have to drill to find the rocks and to find this system. That's where Burns is, on the edge of the Lake Randall. And that's looking out to the east, where Lefroy probably owns most of that ground through there and where we're doing our exploration. So that's our challenge, to look under the Salt Lake, Lake Randall, and on the land-based exploration, which I call onshore exploration, where we're trying to find this major system. So the work we're doing now, so we're doing a large RC drill program at the moment, and what we aim to deliver, we're doing RC drilling about plus 100 holes, probably about at least 15,000 metres. What we are targeting is a shallow open pittable resource at Burns, and we aim to deliver that resource estimate in the first quarter of calendar year 23. That area which has got the blue outline, that is where we're concentrating on. So it's not the entire Burns we're delivering a resource on, we're just delivering a resource on the shallow part of the system, up to about 200 metres to the surface. This drilling is what we call, on the left-hand side of the screen, that's a plan view of the system. All the blue dots represent the holes we're drilling. This is onshore drilling and offshore drilling. So we've got a drill rig underway now on the onshore drilling, and we're about to get another rig that will start on the lake, which we call offshore drilling. There's a big program and a large lake-based RC rig that will be drilling on the lake as well. So moving along, Burns it's a fantastic new system we've found in the Eastern Goldfields. It's porphyry related, an alkalic porphyry. We see a zoned alteration system, much like we've seen in porphyry systems around the world, modern analogues like the Andes, North Parks, and in British Columbia. So this is what we're looking at. This could be a new style of mineralisation found in the Eastern Goldfields. Activities news flow over the next 6 months, that's the big item. We're waiting on the results from the diamond drilling from Burns. There's 4 holes, we're waiting all the copper and the gold results. We've got a big RC drilling program underway, and that'll keep going into Q1 of next year, and that's where, upon that, we'll deliver the resource estimate. At Western Lefroy, goldfields are underway with a big air core drilling program. And I guess the other key thing we're doing is, because we're solely focused, really focused on this Burns prospect, we're going to be spinning out our nickel assets. And that moves on to this slide, where we've formed a company called Johnston Lakes Nickel Limited. We've put the nickel assets of the company, Glen Isle Lake Johnston, into that, and we are going to spin that out in the first half of next year. Really, the key takeaways for the company: strong commitment to greenfields exploration. So that's what we do. We go out and look under the lakes to try and find big discoveries, and that's what we think we found at Burns. We're underpinned by the big $25 million farm for goldfields of Western Lefroy, and obviously a tight capital structure leveraged to share price success. Thank you.